So there's a couple theories here when his quote is saying, I wish that, actually he says, I wish you, he's talking to Gypsy here, I wish you had gotten through the divorce process before this happened, before you got pregnant.
Yeah, I can't imagine it being an actual pregnancy. That makes no damn sense because it takes two people to get pregnant, and you can't just get pregnant on your own. So I mean,
they could be talking about something else. Like she waited for something else besides getting pregnant. It could just be edited to make it sound like that.
That's one line, but it says a hell of a lot. I mean, I kind of curious as to what came before that and after to get more context.
Yeah. But if it is that, well then, duh, dude, you were there. You were at Jizz Test, okay?
Gypsy Rose Blanchard's life after prison was expected to be a quiet story of redemption, but instead, it's raising eyebrows. Despite publicly promising to step back from social media and focus on her new roles as a mother and partner, Gypsy's actions suggest otherwise. Just weeks after giving birth to her daughter Aurora, Gypsy returned to her online platforms, but not to share heartwarming family updates. Instead, her posts seemed fixated on showcasing her physical recovery, inviting compliments, and curating an image of perfection. Initially, Gypsy vowed to prioritize her family and leave behind the world of social media, but it didn't take long for her to break that promise. Almost immediately after Aurora's birth, Gypsy was back online, posting photos and videos emphasizing her quick post-delivery bounce back. Captions highlighted her slim figure and recovery journey, with little mention of the joys or challenges of motherhood. The focus on her appearance, rather than her baby or partner, has left many wondering if her obsession with public validation is overshadowing her responsibilities at home. Gypsy's relationship with her fiancé, Ken, and her role as a new mother should be her top priority. But her behavior paints a troubling picture. Her return to the public eye seems less about celebrating family life and more about controlling her narrative. Critics point to a deeper pattern of seeking external approval, a tendency that has followed her since the infamous events of her past.
How am I feeling postpartum? Good. The first few days were a little overwhelming, but Ken was absolutely so supportive. I didn't have postpartum depression, but I did go through a little bit of postpartum anxiety, which I think is absolutely, normal for a first-time mom. You look at all the things that could go wrong and it kind of freaks you out. Even when you're in the car, you're like, oh my God, there's cars passing by. Like it's overwhelming a little bit. But I've adjusted, my hormones have leveled out now.
Gypsy's latest social media posts may have been intended to celebrate the arrival of her newborn, but fans aren't buying the picture-perfect display. The timing couldn't be more telling. With whispers swirling about her priorities as a new mom, Gypsy's over-the-top reveal seemed like a calculated move to shift the conversation. Rather than focusing on the raw, relatable realities of motherhood, her post came across as a highly polished defense mechanism, but what really had viewers buzzing? The oddly specific and oddly unnecessary details she shared about her delivery. Gypsy took to her post to share that she'd used a neuro, a detail that left many scratching their heads and emphasized how smooth and easy the entire process had been. While some fans praised her transparency, others felt it missed the mark entirely. Instead of connecting with her audience or celebrating the joy of her baby's arrival, these hyper-detailed anecdotes felt more like an attempt to preemptively quash any rumors about her birthing experience. Social media erupted, with fans speculating about the real motives behind her post. Was she trying to sidestep criticism by painting a flawless picture of motherhood, or was this a veiled clapback at those questioning her commitment to her new role? Whatever the intent, one thing was clear: the polished post did little to bridge the gap between Gypsy and her audience.
Okay, well, apparently somebody did some research, and it looks pretty legit to me. Her postpartum body, a week after.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah, I do have that video lined up. Yep.
Forget the midnight feedings and heartwarming milestones most new moms embrace. Gypsy's journey into motherhood has taken a strikingly different turn, and the internet is buzzing. Instead of cherishing these fleeting first weeks with her newborn, Gypsy seems consumed by something else entirely: her image. While new parents typically lean into bonding and sleepless nights, she's busy scrolling through comments, replying to strangers, and fiercely defending her choices to the public. It's not just a one-off distraction, it's a pattern that paints a picture of someone more preoccupied with controlling the narrative than embracing the intimate responsibilities of parenting. This relentless need for validation is stirring controversy, with critics calling her out for prioritizing her social media presence over her maternal role. And it's not just the content of her posts, fans and skeptics alike are dissecting the sheer energy she pours into maintaining her public persona. Does this obsession stem from insecurity, or is it a calculated move to stay in the spotlight? What do you think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments section below.
May I ask, have I missed anything? Like, what is justice for Aurora? What's that about?
That I don't know. Some people were saying that, but I get it. I understand why people would want justice.
Oh my God, you have a Katie Joy. You have a Katie Joy emoji now.
Yeah.
Her latest behavior has sparked a whirlwind of concern, with fans questioning whether her self-absorbed tendencies might overshadow her role as a mother. As her family grows, so do the doubts surrounding her ability to balance fame, parenthood, and the demands of her increasingly chaotic lifestyle.
You know, when I look at my little girl, it brings up a lot of emotions about my mother. And it's hard to look at this little innocent baby, and know that I was once a little innocent baby. And I don't understand how parents could hurt their kids. I just don't.
Gypsy is making waves for all the wrong reasons after a live session that left fans stunned and critics fuming. During the stream, she openly celebrated receiving funds that had been allegedly acquired by a hacker, labeling the situation as karma and basking in the irony of her critics' misfortune. While some saw her victory as poetic justice, Gypsy's glee over profiting from such murky circumstances raised serious questions about her character. Her unapologetic reaction revealed a willingness to reap the benefits of unethical actions without a second thought, turning the spotlight on her lack of introspection. As the backlash grows, the question lingers. Was this karma at work, or a troubling glimpse into Gypsy's true colors?
I had told the hacker, I'm like, I will get my account back. Like, rest assured, I will get my account back. And he tried to sell to me for $400. I was like, no, I'm not paying for my own account. I'm gonna go about it the legal way and contact TikTok. And Ken helped me out with that. Because there's like several email addresses that you could email TikTok, but they don't they don't respond back to you very fast. So Ken was able to find like where you put or like report a ticket or put a ticket in, a problem ticket. And so he helped me with that. And I had got a response back from them saying, if you give us the email that was attached when you created the account and all this kind of stuff. And thankfully I knew all that because I'm the owner of the account. So I got my account back, and I mean, at least it's not in the hands of a scammer. I think it was heartbreaking to kind of watch all these people just kind of like go bananas trying to buy my account, which I'm pretty sure is illegal.
Throughout her life, Gypsy's pattern has been clear, leaning on those around her to carry the load while she enjoys the rewards. This behavior has followed her from her family dynamic to her friendships, and now into her relationship with Ken. From the outside, it might appear like a web of dependence that others have allowed her to weave, but it's more than that. It's an ingrained habit, one that speaks to her inability to fully step into her own power and take on the responsibility that comes with adulthood. As Gypsy has faced personal trials, her approach to relationships has often been a way to avoid confronting the hard truths about herself. She's shown time and again that when things get too heavy, she's more than willing to pass the weight to someone else. But when it comes to motherhood, the stakes are no longer abstract. There's a little life depending on her, and the roles she's played in the past won't cut it anymore. Motherhood demands more than just physical effort. It requires the emotional fortitude to put your own needs aside and focus on someone else's well-being. For Gypsy, this is a turning point. Can she step up in a way she never has before, or will she continue to retreat into her familiar patterns? The pressure is mounting, and it's unclear if she's ready to face what lies ahead.
Just imagine just waking up with Gypsy Rose Blanchard standing over you out of a dead sleep. Like, that's scary.
Oh God, don't do that.
She likes the drama. She likes them being like, oh, I want you. No, I want you. That's what she likes. It's weird.
The carrot and stick game, as she calls it.
Yeah, exactly.
What were you saying, Kobox? I think you were trying to say something there.
Oh yeah, if I was to wake up with Gypsy next to me, I wouldn't need to watch a horror movie ever again. That's all I would need to see.
With her making that face in the promo with the chins.
Oh my God, yeah, it's so bad.
In a shocking moment during a recent live session with her friend Bree, Gypsy found herself scrambling to defend her actions when the topic of her baby's birth announcement came up. Gypsy, facing intense criticism for posting the news, tried to deflect the heat by placing the blame squarely on her partner Ken. According to her, it was Ken who insisted on sharing the personal milestone with the world, despite his long-standing aversion to social media. But is that the whole truth? Or is Bree simply trying to dodge accountability for yet another questionable decision? Let's unpack this. For years, Ken has been known for staying out of the spotlight, a man of few words and even fewer Instagram posts. So, when Gypsy claimed that he pushed for the birth announcement to go public, it left fans scratching their heads. If Ken's so averse to the public eye, why would he suddenly decide to go against his own privacy rules and post such a personal update? It doesn't add up. This is more than just a public relations misstep. It highlights a troubling pattern in their relationship. Gypsy, rather than taking responsibility for her own choices, continues to shift the blame onto Ken. But is this fair? And more importantly, what does this say about the dynamics of their partnership? When one person constantly plays the role of the scapegoat, where does that leave the other? In this case, Ken seems to be the one shouldering the fallout, and it raises some serious questions about their mutual respect and trust. As the drama unfolds, fans are divided. Some believe Gypsy is simply in damage control mode, while others feel Ken has been unfairly dragged into the situation. One thing is certain though, the public is losing patience with the constant back and forth. The cracks in their relationship are starting to show, and fans are watching closely to see if this will be the breaking point for the couple.
This is coming from Ken talking to Gypsy. Quote, I wish that she had gotten through this divorce process before this happened, end quote. Go ahead.
Well, because it could be edited. They could be talking about something else. Like she waited for, something else besides getting pregnant. It could just be edited to make it sound like that. But if it is that, well then, duh, dude, you were there. Your edges test, okay?
Yeah, I can't imagine it being an actual pregnancy. That makes no damn sense because it takes two people to get pregnant. And you can't just get pregnant on your own. So I mean,
so there's a couple theories here when his quote is saying, I wish that, actually he says, I wish you, he's talking to Gypsy here, I wish you had gotten through the divorce process before this happened, before you got pregnant. That's one line, but it says a hell of a lot. I'm kind of curious as to what came before that and after to get more context.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard's manipulative tendencies extend far beyond her tumultuous relationship with her mother. Now, they're spilling into her life as a mother herself. The latest jaw-dropping twist? Gypsy publicly accused her own stepmother, Christy, of suggesting they sell photos of Gypsy's daughter, Aurora, to avoid unauthorized leaks. But what's the real motive behind this shocking claim? In a move that feels more like a calculated strategy than a moment of raw emotion, Gypsy framed Christy as nothing more than a money-driven opportunist. By calling her untrustworthy, Gypsy paints a picture of a woman with ulterior motives, someone willing to exploit her family for financial gain. But was this accusation truly about protecting her child, or was it something else? What stands out even more is the timing and the purpose behind Gypsy sharing this private conversation. It wasn't about transparency. It felt more like a carefully orchestrated attempt to manipulate the narrative before it spiraled out of control. This wasn't a call for justice. It was a preemptive strike, a way to justify any future actions involving her child's image, no matter how controversial. And here's where it gets even more chilling. By publicly accusing Christy, Gypsy may have been laying the groundwork for sympathy. In one fell swoop, she positioned herself as the protective mother, creating a shield around her reputation for whatever comes next. It's a classic move. And the question remains, is Gypsy truly just protecting her daughter? Or is she playing the game, manipulating everyone around her to ensure her own agenda remains intact?
So it wasn't until he's like, I just want to post a picture on my Instagram. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, first of all, which one? Because I don't want to show her, because I was very, protective, and I still am very protective. So I was like, I want to make sure that we agree on the picture. He's like, do you want me to tag you in it? I'm like, no. This is, and essentially, this is what you want to do. It's your Instagram. I'm not going to tell you how to run your Instagram. All I'm going to say is my input on which picture that I think we could both come to an agreement on, to where it's still protecting her, but you can still have your moment to where you can announce as a proud father.
But it's not just her manipulation of those closest to her that's shocking. It's the web of lies she's willing to spin to keep her public persona pristine. Gypsy's willingness to exploit her personal relationships for the sake of her public image isn't just a one-off incident. It's a deeply troubling pattern that has emerged over time. By twisting sensitive details to serve her narrative, she's shown just how far she's willing to go to maintain her flawless facade. Whether it's bending the truth to her advantage or throwing people under the bus, Gypsy's actions raise serious concerns about her true intentions. But the most recent controversy? Her memoir? Gypsy's attempt to explain away the glaring inaccuracies in her writing revealed yet another layer of her strategy. When called out on these errors, she didn't take responsibility. Instead, she tried to shift the blame onto her busy schedule, claiming that ghostwriters were responsible for the mistakes. While that might sound plausible at first, it doesn't quite hold up. After all, anyone who follows Gypsy's social media knows how much energy she spends monitoring and responding to online criticism. If she can devote that much time to defending herself, why not address the inaccuracies head-on instead? This deflection is more than just an excuse. It's a strategy for avoiding accountability. Instead of owning up to the inconsistencies in her memoir, Gypsy engages in petty disputes, casting blame elsewhere while avoiding any meaningful self-reflection. This move only deepens the skepticism surrounding her honesty. It's clear that her focus isn't on correcting the narrative or restoring trust. It's on maintaining her image at all costs, no matter the damage it causes to others along the way. As her defenses crumble, the public's skepticism only intensifies. It's becoming clearer that Gypsy isn't interested in truth. She's interested in controlling the narrative. The question now is, how much longer can she keep up this charade before the truth finally catches up with her?
What is one thing that you hope that people take away from the book?
I really hope people take away from the book, like the point of the book is not to rehash my story.
Okay.
The point of the book is to give hope to the people that are currently going through my story.
Right.
People that have no idea what Munchausen by proxy is, because I didn't. Mm-hmm. People that are in domestic violence relationships, they could relate to the mindset that I was in.
Absolutely.
I don't ever want people to read this and be like, oh, I am inspired to go commit a crime. That is not the point of this book.
Right.
So the point of this book is about survival. Mm-hmm. And whether you have been through domestic violence, sexual abuse, child abuse, I feel like we are all part of a family in a sense. It's a camaraderie. We could understand each other's thinking. Mm-hmm. And so this is simply a book of hope.
Lately, every move she makes seems designed to manage her image. But is it coming at the cost of something more important, her family? The constant defense of her public persona might be eroding her credibility and shifting focus away from what truly matters. Instead of confronting the challenges that come with her new role as a mother, she's caught up in an endless cycle of crafting the perfect defense. While she spends her time obsessing over what others think of her, the question remains, what's being lost in the process? Time spent defending herself in the public eye could be better used to build stronger, more meaningful connections at home. But her actions suggest that facing the realities of her life is no longer her priority. She's a new mom, but don't expect Gypsy to turn into your go-to mommy vlogger anytime soon. In a bold move, she's made it clear that she has zero plans of diving into the world of parenting content. Why? Let's just say she's not buying into the endless sea of advice already flooding the internet. Gypsy admitted that as a new mom, she feels there's already more than enough parenting info out there. She doesn't believe she could offer anything groundbreaking or truly beneficial to the masses. No hot tips or parenting secrets up her sleeve. So, for now, it looks like she's keeping the focus on other areas of her life, far from the mommy vlogger spotlight.
I saw a couple of videos that are circulating around that there's this rumor that Christy's taking care of Aurora, which is completely untrue. I'm watching these videos, having 4 hours of sleep, getting up every 2 hours to feed her, change her. Like, I do everything, with the exception of Ken helping, of course. Like, we take shifts, and if I change her, Ken will feed her. We're doing the best we can as parents, and we're doing pretty good. I don't ask Christy to take her and do everything. Christy is there in case I need her, but for the most part, I'm rocking it. And as they say, I'm just doing the damn thing. Like, I've got my big girl panties on. I'm a mom now, and I'm taking my responsibilities seriously. But nobody sees that stuff. So
when Gypsy and Ken became proud parents, their first big move after welcoming their baby wasn't what her fans expected. Instead of rushing to share the news with their followers, the couple decided to keep this milestone private for a few days. Their reason? To savor the moment as a family without the distractions of social media. While many supporters applauded this decision, others were quick to question the sudden silence, sparking a wave of speculation online. But the real buzz started when Gypsy made a public plea, addressing creators like Nina, Ivory Rose Grows Wild, and Conspiracy. In her message, she urged them to ease up on the constant commentary about her life and instead focus on spreading peace. For Gypsy, this wasn't just about shutting down the noise. It was about protecting her growing family from the endless drama that often comes with online fame. Still, fans can't help but point out the irony in the situation. If these creators' content causes so much stress, why does Gypsy keep watching their videos? It's a question that's fueling even more debate in her community, with some sympathizing with her plight and others questioning her choices.
After she was born, if we were able to keep it hush hush, not because I wanted to hide anything, but I was like, I want us to actually be happy in this moment and not have to worry about Nina said this or Conspiracy said that, or Ivory Rose Grows Wild said that in this rumor.
Y'all wanted time for that, just y'all.
Yes, we wanted to have a moment to actually be normal ass people and be happy in the moment at the birth of our child. Yeah. So I'm like, if to have a few days of just calm peace with nothing being said was the goal. In my mind, announcement like People Magazine or something like that. And so I was like a hardcore no. I was like, no, we're not announcing. Why? Like, our family, our friends know. Why does the world have to know? And so it wasn't until he's like, I just want to post a picture on my Instagram. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, first of all, which one? Because I don't want to show her, because I was very, protective, and I still am very protective. So I was like, I want to make sure that we agree on the picture. He's like, do you want me to tag you in it? I'm like, no. This is, and essentially, this is what you want to do. It's your Instagram. I'm not going to tell you how to run your Instagram. All I'm going to say is my input on which picture that I think we could both come to an agreement on, to where it's still protecting her, but you can still have your moment to where you can announce as a proud father. And so once we had an understanding about that, then he posted the picture. Me, on the other hand, I'm still not gonna post a picture. I don't even post pictures on my private Facebook. Like TMZ and all those media stuff, like they follow our social media platforms. So when we post something on our social media, then mainstream media picks up afterwards.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that because I know some people had said like they did an interview, and I'm like, no, they didn't.
No.
I was like, that's why it only says Ken said their baby's healthy and they're very happy. And
Yeah, so TMZ did reach out to Ken and wanted a comment. They were going to print the article regardless of anything.
This is a short and simple comment.
Yeah, exactly. So he's like, the baby's healthy, we're happy, all is good.
It all started when Gypsy shared a conversation with her stepmom, Christy, that left her feeling deeply unsettled. According to Gypsy, Christy suggested they sell the first picture of the baby to make some quick cash. Her reasoning, paparazzi or a random passerby might snap a picture anyway once the baby was seen in public. While some might see this as a savvy business move, Gypsy was anything but thrilled. She made it clear that the idea of exploiting her child for profit didn't sit right with her. The suggestion hit a nerve, sparking a heartfelt conversation between the two. Ultimately, Gypsy stood her ground, letting Christy know that while she can't control what others might do, she would never personally profit off her baby's image. It's safe to say this mom has her priorities straight.
Christy, she was like, I got offended, but then we had a conversation because she was like, somebody's gonna get it. Realistically, one day when y'all are out and about, somebody's gonna get a picture of the baby. And I'm like, she's like, well, you should sell it. That way, if somebody's gonna make money off of it, it should be you and not some rando. And I got really offended and a little upset with her over it. And I'm like, absolutely not. There is a huge difference between if somebody takes a picture where I'm not even aware, we're at the park. Let's just say we're at the park. Somebody snaps a picture of us walking through the park. I can't control what other people do. That's just the unfortunate reality of it. But I can control what I do. And I make the choice to not exploit my child. So.
Right. And I know at the end of the day, she obviously never meant it that way, but the way it came out was just yeah, exactly. That's what the world would have viewed it as well.
Mm-hmm.
I love how Ken put out, him and the baby. Not
just a lot of debate about that, actually.
Yeah, I love the way he did it. He did it such a classy way. Y'all are no one. Because, I think a lot of people expected, a tabloid or something to be the first one to put it out. And y'all did it like just normal people,
Well, we had a conversation and we kept going back and forth because there was a little bit of miscommunication between him and I.
Wait, did Ken and Gypsy just have a major baby announcement mix-up? You won't believe the story behind this. It all started when Ken dropped a bombshell about their daughter's birth, and Gypsy was shocked by what he actually meant. But trust, things got way more awkward than either of them expected. Here's the deal. Gypsy thought Ken was talking about making a huge announcement, maybe even a full-on feature in People magazine, especially since she's been in the public eye for so long. She was ready for the spotlight moment. But when she asked Ken for the details, the truth came out. He wasn't planning anything nearly that big. Turns out, Ken was just talking about posting a sweet photo of their little one on Instagram. Yep, that was it. A simple social media post. Can you imagine the awkwardness when she realized? Talk about setting the stage for a major misunderstanding. Gypsy has officially turned the tables on her so-called haters, and it's safe to say the clapback was one for the books. After finally getting her TikTok account back, she took to her stories with a message that left everyone shook. Y'all remember when the hacker was getting all those live gifts from my haters? She posted, "Well, I just got my payout. Thanks to all my haters. Talk about turning a loss into a win." For context, when the hacker had control of Gypsy's TikTok, they were going live and racking up gifts sent by Gypsy's critics. The last number we heard from experts was around $300. Yes, you read that right. $300 in gifts just sitting in her account. But Gypsy's crew spread out some rumors that she had actually made $16,000, which we for sure know that sum is fake as we exposed in our previews video, but still, even with only $300 for now, it looks like Gypsy's the one laughing all the way to the bank. It's a move no one saw coming. At least she can get a week's worth of diapers for her baby Aurora.
It's the fact that the hacker went live again and again and again, and people were just gifting the account, and they were gifting the hacker, being like a stick it to Gypsy type of thing. And then I get my account back, and all those live gifts goes to me.
Yeah, I did a video about that today.
That's just funny.
Someone was like, she paid the hacker. I'm like, what? Is she got reimbursed? She got reimbursed for money on the live gifts. I was like, what sense does that make?
No, it's just the point that,
it's not okay, and people
it's not okay to act that way. It's just not. I mean,
that was the former. It came back before Wednesday, which is payday.
Right.
So no one should be gifting. Basically, like, say if you wouldn't have gotten it back, all they're doing is getting scammed out of money. This is a hacker, just like people that were trying to pay him for that account.
They knew this guy was a scammer, and they're still talking to him, and they're still gifting him. And I'm watching, and because I was watching from Christy's phone, and we were just watching it all together, and I'm like, grab the popcorn. This is a freaking shit show right now. And we're just watching baffled, and there was nothing I could do at the time but wait for TikTok to respond to me. But I'm like, the thing is, it's like, if you're able to get through to TikTok and actually talk to someone, it's your account. So you could easily give TikTok your information to get the account back. I told the hacker, I'm like, I'm going to get my account back. And he's like, give me $400. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna buy my own account back from you. That's crazy.
Right. And then and I know some of the messages that were put out were fake. And then
the messages that I don't know what it was. It was like a separate account or whatever. But there was so many fake messages that were supposedly from me and Ryan. They were crazy messages too.
I know, it was so funny. The comment on Conspiracy's video. No shit, they're fake. Because that's what I was saying.
I know, I was like, no shit, they're fake. Clearly.
But they posted the real ones first, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. So the ones that you had put out were his messages to me. And then right before our divorce, I had reached out to him because I really just kind of wanted a closure conversation. He keeps saying that it's really hard for him to move on whenever the last thing he had seen was me walking out the door. And so I was like, I reached out to him, and I had talked to Ken, I talked to my dad, I talked to my sister, I talked to Christy. I literally talked to everybody within my close circle and asked them, is this a good idea? How do you feel about it? I talked to Ken about it thoroughly. Ken said that if it brought me and him closure, he was completely fine with it. He didn't have a problem with that. If it helped us move on and helped us grow as people, he was fine with it. So I think it's funny that people were like, ooh, I wonder what juicy messages are in there. And I'm like, okay, literally, there's nothing in there that I would be ashamed of people seeing.
I know. They wanted to see yours and Ryan's, yours and Ken's, and yours and mine, okay? Everybody wanted to see. I was like, there's nothing in any of those, videos, sharing videos. You and Ryan was really short. And then wait, the question of the hour, because he didn't end up going to court though, right?
No, he waived his right to go, so it was just me that went. And he never responded to my message to him. But his mom and I are still on good terms. Joy is a really sweet woman, and so
she
is, and so she just kind of relayed to me that it would have been too hard for him to have a face-to-face with me on the day of the divorce, and I totally respected that. So
okay, because he said no comment when someone asked him if y'all had seen each other.
Well, we didn't.
Because you're like, I'll make it clear.
Well, I'll make it clear we didn't, but But it's okay, you know, I hope
Maybe
that,
one day y'all will, but
yeah, I'm just hoping that, like,
he's able to move on and heal.
he's able to heal.
Is Gypsy Rose Blanchard about to turn a new page in her life? After everything she's been through, it looks like she's finally ready to take on a fresh challenge. Gypsy shared that she's been seriously considering cosmetology school, a major step toward independence and rebuilding her future. But there's a catch. She's still on parole, and no school options are available in her current location. Gypsy is keeping her options open, checking out a few schools, but the final decision won't be made until her parole restrictions are lifted. Will Gypsy finally get the chance to live life on her own terms, or will her past continue to shape her future?
Like, if you decide to, just
Do it, because they had the cosmetology program in Chillicothe. But whenever COVID happened, they had shut everything down because of, like, you know, 6 feet apart and all that stuff, social distancing. So
it's really not a long program, you know?
It's a year.
Yeah, so it's not that long compared to, like, you know, if like normal college, you know, for a year.
Right. And there's part-time, there's full-time, and there's part-time.
Yeah.
I'd probably do the part-time considering, you know, Aurora. So
Can you imagine going through labor without feeling a single thing? Well, that's exactly what Gypsy is claiming happened during her birth experience. Yep, you heard that right. She says she felt absolutely nothing thanks to the magic of an epidural. In fact, Gypsy went on to say she feels so blessed to have had the smoothest, most pain-free labor, crediting the epidural for working perfectly. For anyone who's heard the horror stories about childbirth pain, this is a major plot twist. But wait, can it really be that easy? Gypsy's experience seems almost too good to be true, especially when you hear the usual tales of grueling, hours-long labor pains. She even said that with the epidural, she didn't feel a thing during the entire process, which is probably the kind of luck most women wish for. Is it the epidural that made her experience so painless, or was she just lucky?
yeah, girl, when I tell you, I am so blessed to have the birth experience that I did, because I did not feel a thing. The epidural worked absolutely like wonders. And, you know, you watch movies where, you know, the women are screaming and it's like, push and all that stuff. That was not my experience.
Well, I know you had to press that button again, because when you had first told me you got it, I was like, you had a long ways before she came. Yeah. I was like, so poor.
I took a 2-hour nap because I went in at 6 centimeters dilated, and then they gave me the epidural, and then they put the catheter in because they're like, you're not going to be able to have control over your bladder. So they put the catheter in, and they did all that after the epidural. So I didn't feel none of that. 4 hours later, I was still only 6 centimeters. So they had given me Pitocin to kind of speed things up a little bit.
Right.
And then I took like a 2-hour nap. And then I wake up from my 2-hour nap. They check my cervix. I'm 10 centimeters dilated. And they're like, okay, you know, my doctor's like, it's time to push. And I'm like, my eyes got so big. Chris can't even tell you that my eyes got so big, because I'm like, oh my God, here it comes.
Was it just Ken in there with you?
Ken was in there. Yeah, Ken was in there.
I'm saying, was it just Ken?
Yeah, it was just Ken. We talked about it, and, you know, I know that we had said, oh, you know, Mia might be in there with us. Christy might be in there with us. But then when it came down to it, then Ken was like, okay, this is a moment for us. So we kind of kicked everybody out. I was at 36 in 3 days.
So almost at 7. Yeah. So she was like a little bit later, but not much, like by a few days.
I asked her pediatrician, I was like, because of her coming early, does the milestones that apply to a full term apply to her as well? And her pediatrician was like, yes, like the milestones, like, because she was so close to being, you know, 37 weeks, 30, you know, whatever, 38 weeks is like considered full term, I guess. So because there's that so close, the milestones that a full-term would experience applies to her too. So
Gypsy just let us in on a little secret. When it comes to navigating this whole motherhood thing, her best friend isn't a parenting guru or a supermom figure, it's Google. Yep, you heard that right. Gypsy revealed that she's been diving into a few parenting books to get prepared for her new chapter. But it doesn't stop there. Her partner Ken, he's got his own collection of books on hand, ready to jump in whenever they need advice. But here's the kicker. If they hit a parenting roadblock and they don't know what to do, they're Googling it. Google is there to help them figure it all out, no questions asked. Sounds like a pretty tech-savvy way to handle motherhood, right? It's like combining the best of both worlds, old school wisdom with today's high-tech convenience. Honestly, who needs to stress when you've got Google in your corner? What do you think about this parenting strategy?
And Ken is
He's
one of the most amazing men I've ever met.
He's been so wonderful and supportive. Like, I really am just blown back, and that just makes me more in love with him, is to like see him with her and how he plays with her and holds her and comforts her. And I've never seen this side of him, and so it's really like, it touches my heart just to kind of see that that side to him that is a parent now.
When Brie brought up the topic of fame, Gypsy didn't hold back. She straight up admitted that it's not as glamorous as people make it out to be. While many dream of the perks that come with being a social media sensation, Gypsy pointed out that having millions of followers doesn't equal happiness. She made a shocking confession. With 9 million eyes constantly watching her every move, it feels more like a burden than a blessing. Could the pressure of fame be too much to handle?
No, I was actually like, I mean, even my messages with the hacker, I was like, I was gonna delete it, deactivate it in a couple months anyway. I accepted that if I lost this account, I accepted that, hey, it's gone. And you know what? Good riddance, because the burden of having 9.8, million opinions and eyes on you, it is extremely stressful, and it is a burden. And I keep it open because it's like, a lot of family and friends have been like, you can't come across this kind of following. So I accepted it if it was gone for good. I have Ken to thank for helping me get it back.
Awesome.
Because I'm terrible at like tech savvy stuff. I'm not tech savvy. So he was able to help me go through who I need to contact with TikTok, make a troubleshoot ticket or whatever, and let them know my account's been hacked, and he was able to help me get it back. But essentially, I was totally fine with it if it was gone. Now, am I happy I got it back? Just to prove a point that it's not okay for people to behave the way they did whenever it was being hacked, with wanting to buy the account and everything like that, and the haters just absolutely loving it.
Right.
How could you expect to be, preach karma and be like, oh, this is Gypsy's karma? No, it's not. Because guess what? If this account was gone, I would have been happy. I would have been fine with it.
So, what do you think about everything Gypsy revealed? Are you shocked by her honesty? Or do you think she's just being real? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm dying to know what you all think. And hey, if you want to stay updated on all the latest influencer drama and headlines, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.